I'm starting a new series of videos today based on films that never were. Now this is a subject that's super interesting to me, basically about movies that were in production or that they started making that they stopped. I'm going to start off with one that you might have heard of, you might not have heard of. It was going to be X-Men Origins Magneto. Now, I specifically remember looking up this movie on IMDb and getting hyped for it. I remember eagerly following this and then watching as it just slowly kind of dropped off the map. So the story of the movie was going to be a young Magneto growing up in Auschwitz. Then after he was liberated from the camp, it would focus around him hunting Nazis. So this is some pretty heavy stuff here. I feel like it probably would have been the darkest X-Men movie, maybe one of the darkest superhero movies, bearing in mind Magneto's origin is so intense. It was greenlit in 2004 and it was going to be produced by Avi Arad, who produced Iron Man, he produced Wolverine Origins, he produced Amazing Spider-Man movies, and also produced by Laura Schuler-Donner. She produced X-Men First Class, she produced Deadpool, and the script was by Sheldon Turner. It was intended to be released in 2006. Now, as we're currently in 2016, it's pretty obvious that didn't happen. It was pushed back to 2007 with David Goyer set to direct. Now, David Goyer is typically a writer. You probably know his name because he wrote Batman vs Superman, but he was going to direct this. Now, the only big budget recognizable movie he has directed to that point was Blade 3. I like Blade 3. I mean, Naked Ryan Reynolds, right? But that's not a good movie. Production kind of gradually slowed down and it kind of moved to the wayside as they set up for X-Men Origins Wolverine. Ian McKellen was actually going to reprise his role at the beginning, at the end of the movie, so I guess it would have been kind of like him setting up the flashback. But by 2009, McKellen said flat out that he was not going to be reprising the role. Ian McKellen. It's kind of suggested the movie was grinding to a halt there. After he said that, the movie essentially got cancelled completely outright, partly due to the writer's strike. The Magneto scenes that they had planned were later incorporated into X-Men First Class, which I saw in the cinema and I was sort of like, wait, wasn't this the plan for the Magneto movie? I actually thought that while I was watching it. Despite the couple of years that this movie was being planned and it was greenlit, stuff would have been moving ahead. Obviously McKellen was signed up to do it. Despite all of that, there is nothing to do with this movie available. There's no footage, there's no production stills, there's no scripts, there's no press kit, there's no promotional material, there's nothing. I'm sure it's in a big vault at Fox, or maybe they just chucked it all in the bin, but it hasn't been out, they haven't released anything, nothing's been leaked. Yeah, it's bizarre that there's nothing, because a lot of movies that do get planned and scrapped, something comes out, whether it's concept art or a costume design. Magneto's really had nothing. That kind of sucks. I really thought a Magneto movie would have been cool, especially because to see that really sort of terrible Auschwitz origin for him, that would have been really interesting to put a mutant, a superhero, in that setting. I think that's a really interesting origin for him, especially with how warped and extreme his ideology does become in the end. The mentality behind what obviously little Magneto saw in these camps and how that sculpted his opinion of humanity, and obviously why he ended up so anti-human and pro-mutant by the end, which is almost like he becomes the thing he hated, you know? That's a really interesting dynamic. That's one that I guess will just be lost. I can't see them revisiting that anytime soon, but they are still talking about making the Gambit movie, and I know that was kind of talked about around the same time. So yeah, I find this stuff super interesting. If you guys know of any movies that were going to be made but didn't, or got cancelled, or halted in various stages of production, please let me know. I really love reading about this and hopefully you guys like hearing about it. So let me know if you want me to do more of these. I have a ton of these things lined up. I really love the stories of movies that never got made. So yeah, let me know in the comments. If you liked the video, then please thumbs up, subscribe, comment, whatever, and I will see you on the dark side. Bye.